Hi everyone, I'm Angela and welcome to Crafting with Angela. This is your new go-to place for all things paper crafting. Whether you've been crafting for a while now or are just starting out, you'll find a variety of tips, tutorials and inspiration here.
In today's video, I will be showing you 5 ways to make cards using washi tape. This is part of my Frugal Friday videos, which means that I will be using minimal supplies during the video. You can find a list of the supplies I used in the description box below. The first card is a simple birthday cake made out of washi tape. So for this first card, I am going to take a 6-inch square card base. I have chosen 5 washi tapes from my stash that I think look most like a birthday cake. However, you can use whatever tapes you have in your stash already. I think this card would look just as good alternating between only 2 different washi tapes. I'm going to roughly measure a strip of washi tape for the base layer of the cake. You want to make sure that your ends are fairly straight. Washi tape is designed to be movable, so if you're wanting to use it on the front of your cards and you want it to be there for a length of time, you're going to want to use a stronger glue to hold it down. So that's what I am going to do. I have a plastic glue mat over to the side that I use to keep my desk clean, and I'm adding glue stick onto the back of the tape. Then I stick the strip onto the front of the card. This design is a layered cake, so each strip will be shorter than the last one and will sit above the previous layer. So I'm going to take my next tape for the second layer, measure it out and glue it down. I will repeat this for each of the remaining tapes till I complete the cake. Once I have completed the cake, I'm going to take my black marker and draw on a cake stand to ground the image. For this, I am just simply drawing a line under the bottom layer and then adding 2 legs. You can make this as fancy or as simple as you want, depending on your artistic skills. Mine are not good, so mine's staying fairly basic. Then to finish the cake, I am going to draw a candle on the top layer with a teardrop flame. Finally, I want to ink up my sentiment stamp that I have an acrylic block and stamp it below the cake. As this is part of my Virgo Friday playlist, I will be using the same black ink throughout each of the cards. However, if you have different coloured inks, feel free to use them to match the tape that you are putting on as your cake. Make sure when you are stamping the sentiment that you are pressing it well on the acrylic block and giving time for the ink to transfer onto the card. And that will be the first card finished. The second card is birthday presents made out of washi tape. I've chosen different washi tapes for this card because I have a lot of tapes that I never use. However, make sure you use whatever tapes you have in your stash. For this card, we're going to create boxes for the presents, which means 2 layers of washi tape. Depending on the washi tape you have, you may need to line up the pattern. If you need to do this, I find it easiest to stick the pieces on a cutting mat and then use a craft knife and ruler to trim it down so that it's square. I didn't do that with the first present here and had to cut it down on the card, which was more awkward. Once it's trimmed down, you need to add glue to the tape and stick it onto the card. You want to repeat this process for each of your presents. I like to have odd numbers of things on my card, so for this card I went with 3 presents, one sitting on top of the other 2. For the top present I decided to make it bigger, so I went with 3 layers of tape. To finish off the presents, I'm going to draw a ribbon and bow on each of them with my black marker. Finally, I'm going to stamp the sentiment onto the card. If I was going to repeat this card again, I would move the presents further down to make sure I had more space at the top for the sentiment. And that finishes card number 2. So the third card is using washi tape to make birthday candles. Unlike the previous 2 cards, I'm not going to stick the washi tape directly onto the card. Instead, I'm going to cut a mat from scrap card to be slightly smaller than the card base, leaving a 1/4 inch border all the way around the card. I've also chosen a variety of washi tapes from my stash that I feel will make good candles. I'm also learning from my previous mistake. I'm working out where I want the sentiment to sit before I start working on the card. Then I'll take a strip of my washi tape and I want it to go from the bottom of the card up until approximately 3/4 of the way up the card. It's better if the top of the tape isn't straight, it looks more like a candle. I let it run off the base of the card so that I can fold it over at the end, and that prevents the tape from peeling up at the edge. I'll then repeat this with different lengths of the washi tapes that I have until I get a row of candles right across the card. Once the candles are in place, I'm going to stamp the sentiment at the top of the card. Throughout this video, I've been stamping directly onto the card itself. If you don't trust your stamping technique, or the words don't come out clearly, you can always stamp onto a scrap of card and then stick that onto the card over the top of the words you've already stamped. Now I'm going to fold the end of the tips over onto the back of the card mat. That helps prevent them peeling up later on. With my marker, I'm going to draw flames on the top of each of the candles to finish them off. Finally, I'm going to glue the card mat onto the card base, remembering to centre it on the card. And that's the third card finished. Card number 4 has a Christmas tree made out of washi tape. This card can be made with Christmas washi tape or just plain green tapes. I'm going to use a variety of green non-Christmas tapes for this. The technique is very similar to the layered cake we did in video 1, but instead we're going to add more layers so it resembles a Christmas tree. You want to take a strip of washi tape that's slightly shorter than your card base and glue it down where you want the bottom of your tree to be. Each piece of washi tape is shorter than the previous tape. I'm going to repeat the pattern with the remaining tapes, doubling up on the thinner tapes as we get to the top of the tree. You can always lift up a piece of tape if you've put it in the wrong place. Just remember to add more glue so it stays stuck down. Now that I've completed the tree, I'm going to use some glitter tape to create a star. You want to cut 2 strips of tape approximately ½ an inch long, cut from the end diagonally across to halfway on the other side, and then from that point to the other end, so you're creating the triangle. Glue this down on the top of the tree and repeat it with the other strip. Glue it down on top of each other so that you're creating a star. Alternatively, if you have star sequins or stickers, you can use them to finish the tree instead. To finish the card, we're going to stamp the sentiment at the bottom of the card and then come in with the marker and draw a tree trunk. And that's the 4th card finished. Card number 5 is making Christmas baubles out of washi tape. This card is going to have 3 Christmas baubles or tree ornaments on it, covered with washi tape. You can use a piece of scrap card and then use the washi tape roll to draw 3 circles. The outside of the roll will give a bigger circle and the inside of the roll will give a smaller circle. I'm going to draw 2 larger and 1 smaller circles. Once the circles are drawn, cut them out. Remember, when fussy cutting, it's easier to hold the scissors still and move the card. So find a position that's comfortable with the scissors and move the card to cut it out. This video is part of my Frugal Friday video playlist, so I'm using minimal supplies. But if you have circle punches or dies, you can use them instead to create the bubbles. Once the circles are cut out, we want to cover them in washi tape. I'm going to use these 2 glitter tapes for the larger circles and the shiny tape for the smaller circle. To cover the circles, you need to overlap the tape. I add the tape to the top and the bottom of the circle and overlap the tape in the middle. This only works if there's no pattern on your tape. If you do have a pattern, you'll need to start at either the top or the bottom and make your way across so that you're matching the pattern up. Arrange the completed circles on your card however you want them to hang. We want them to look like ornaments hanging on a tree. I'm going to stamp the sentiment before I stick the circles down. To finish the card, draw a small square at the top of each circle, and then draw a line from each circle to the top of the card. Don't be afraid to turn your card around if it makes it easier for you to draw the line. And that's the fifth and final card completed.
Let's have a look at the 5 cards we made. To finish each of the cards, I glued a strip of washi tape inside each card and also on the outside of the envelope.